Good morning. I want to echo what was mentioned earlier about the trees outside. They are absolutely gorgeous. And it reminds me of in Romans chapter 1, we're told that God's invisible qualities, His eternal nature, are clearly seen from what's been made. In other words, the fingerprints of God are all over the beautiful creation. And so don't miss those fingerprints this morning. It's absolutely gorgeous that God can make something that we would, just say, oh, the fog got on the trees and it froze. Don't miss the wonder in that. I mean, He made a beautiful landscape for us this morning. And so our God is amazing. So always be looking for those fingerprints. In 2 Chronicles chapter 33, we read about a king of Judah, King Manasseh. And he came to power when he was only 12 years old. And if you read through the books of the Kings and the Chronicles of the Old Testament, you're going to find yourself reading very, very frustrating material. Because time and again, you find these people that come to power. They're supposed to be people of God. They're supposed to be pointing people to God. And time and again, you find them being described by the text, a majority of them being described, as one who did evil in the eyes of the Lord. And so again, these people that are supposed to be God's people, these kings of Israel and Judah, are quickly retreating from the ways of God and running toward the ways of the world around them, running towards idolatry and sin and evil practices. And so as you read these accounts, and it happens over and over, that he did evil in the eyes of the Lord, evil in the eyes of the Lord. As you read that time and again, you find yourself asking, are these people ever going to learn? You ever thought that? Look with me in 2 Chronicles chapter 33, beginning in verse 1. It says, Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 55 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, following the detestable practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. He rebuilt the high places his father Hezekiah had demolished. He also erected altars to the Baals and made Asherah poles. He bowed down to all the starry host and worshipped them. He built altars in the temple of the Lord, of which the Lord had said, "My name will remain in Jerusalem forever." In both courts and the temple of the Lord, he built altars to all the starry hosts. He sacrificed his children in the fire of the valley of Ben Hinnom, practiced divination and witchcraft, sought omens and consulted mediums and spiritists. He did much evil in the eyes of the Lord, arousing his anger. He took the image he had made and put it in God's temple. Don't miss how vile that is. He made an idol. He made an image and put it in God's temple, of which God had said to David and his son Solomon, "In this temple and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name forever. I will not again make the feet of the Israelites leave the land I assigned to your ancestors, if only they will be careful to do everything I've commanded them concerning all the laws, decrees, regulations given through Moses." Verse 9, "But Manasseh led Judah and the people of Jerusalem astray, so that they did more evil than the nations the Lord had destroyed before the Israelites." And so God had purged that land, the land of Canaan, for God's people to be able to move in. And here they are, even more vile than the people that used to occupy it. And again, as you read these accounts, you start thinking, will these people ever learn? Several years ago, we were reading this text as a family, and after we got done with that chapter, my son commented about Manasseh. He was 8 years old at the time, Braden was. And he said, "Man, he sacrificed his children in the fire?" And then he said, "Man, it would be a bummer to be his kid." I love that. I love that. But he's right, it would be a bummer. But what we find about Manasseh is detestable. A nation supposedly belonging to God, jumping headfirst into pagan ways and into idolatry. And this man was even building pagan altars and putting them in God's temple. And the question is, do you think Manasseh started out this evil at the age of 12? Or do you think it happened gradually? Have you ever gone too far? Have you ever gotten too close to the edge? We recently went on a vacation to the Grand Canyon, and you would be surprised how many people have lost their lives because they got too close to the edge. But when it comes to your spiritual life, have you ever gone too far? Have you ever approached that edge and gotten too close? And if so, did all of that happen all at once, or did that happen gradually? Let's pick up in verse 10. So the Lord spoke to Manasseh and his people, but they paid no attention. So the Lord brought against them the army commanders of the king of Assyria, who took Manasseh prisoner. Now, if there's any army you don't want to come up against you, it's the Assyrians. If you study them in history, they were incredibly violent. You did not want to see the Assyrians approaching your city. It says, they took Manasseh prisoner, put a hook in his nose, bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babylon. And again, you've got to ask the question, will these people ever learn? Because God talked to Manasseh and the people, and they ignored him. And so now they're being punished. The Assyrians made it a common practice to put the hooks in the nose of a defeated enemy and lead them around. It would have been incredibly humiliating